Let's see how it goes.
I want to watch.
Go for it.
Oh, shit.
Today we're going to talk about the palette. I work with a split primary palette, 2 yellows, 2 reds, and 2 blues. We don't call this a color, it's white. This is green, burnt sienna, and purple, and they're extra just for mixing for convenience. This is ochre. Down here I've taken each one of these colors. This is phthalo blue, and I've added white. You can see that it's a little bit different than French ultramarine blue with white added. Here's alizarin, cad red light, yellow light, and lemon yellow. If you look at both of these colors, we have in each color a warm and a cold side of the yellow. This is the cool yellow, this is the warm yellow. This is the warm red, and this is a cool red. This is a warm blue, and this is a cool blue. And down here you can see why. It helps adding white so you can see why one is warmer than the other. And is that always true? Is this blue always cool? Or this blue always cool and this always warm? If they're next to each other, yes. But if they're not next to each other, no. It can be cold next to this. Each color has an intensity, it has a temperature, and it has what we call a hue. The hue is the name of the color, and we can change the hue by doing this. Now I have a color that's a little different, but it still has a hue. It has an intensity, and it has a temperature. The temperature we've already discussed, the hue we've discussed, and the intensity we're going to talk about. This is very strong and very bright.
A question first. If you have a hue, and you told us one day not to buy hues in stores, what was the reason again?
Hue is the name of a color, but if it's on a tube of paint, it means that they put just a tint of color in that tube. So on a tube of paint, the word hue does not mean that's the color. It means that you have just a tint of that color in that tube and a lot of filler. And that's why they do it, because they put it on sale and it looks like a good bargain. It's actually a cheap disaster because you can't get the intensity that you want. And that's what we're going to talk about now. This intensity here can be see, it doesn't have that intensity anymore. So I can get rid of it by taking the complement and softening it down. Maybe just a little bit. Or I can take white and change it. And that changes the intensity. None of these here are as bright as that, or as strong.
Was that graying?
It's blue, French ultramarine blue, and I use this kind of as an orange. And this French ultramarine blue added to this orange kind of grays it. And if I keep going there...
Can you explain graying a little more again?
I will in a second. There, I'm going to keep adding a little more blue, graying it down until I get over to burnt sienna. Graying is a way of taking a color and taking the intensity out of it, softening the color so it's not so strong. That's the intensity. The strength of the color is the intensity. And when you gray it, you take that strength away. And it lays in the painting better. Colors that are real strong, right out of the tube, tend to stand out on the painting and sometimes are alienate the rest of the painting and don't work very well. Most of the colors you deal with in a painting are grayed. If I take, get this out. If I take alizarin crimson and the complement to it is green and add it, gray it down, I can get black. And if I want to know what kind of black I have, I just grab my white and it'll tell me by giving me a gray. Most of the paintings, most of the colors we deal with are grayed. These are grayed. If I take my yellow and I start graying it down, I'm going to grab purple.
Complement?
It's the complement. And as I gray it down, I'm going to make my purple a little redder. There you go. I have a red purple. And there's my ochre. That's what ochre is. It's a grayed yellow. And it's easier to live with. And don't we, when we're doing landscapes and we're doing the fall colors, grab this and this. And actually, this is this. The difference between these two colors, the main difference, this is transparent, this is opaque.
Because you use that opaque.
Because I used an opaque color to make
orange.
it. Mm-hmm. And
Or
when they,
red.
And when they make it in and put it in the tube for you to buy at the store, it's transparent. The difference between there, you're transparent versus you just can't do that with this.
It's richer.
It just, you can't spread it out enough to get that. Because the two are so different. Transparent is wonderful because we end up using it so much and it doesn't affect as much the making of a color or the changing of a color, whereas the opaques do because they are so dominant. Opaque colors start with your cad red light, come over here, your white and your ochre. All the rest of them are transparent. We've made our black. I'm going to take, I have said that we have a complement for each color. We use the yellow and the purple. We've used the orange and the blue. We've used the red and the green. That takes care of our complements. But what happens when we get playing around and the yellow ochre is too dark? We can always add a little regular yellow, or maybe grab a little orange. And if you want to change that a little bit, you can add in the alizarin. If I take this yellow and this alizarin and make orange, my orange is already grayed because alizarin has blue in it. And that's what's so important. This is the only color, this one here, which is cad yellow light, and phthalo blue are the only two colors on the palette that are pure.
Phthalo blue or, oh,
French ultramarine blue has red in it.
oh,
Alizarin crimson has blue in it. Cad lemon yellow has blue in it. Everything else is contaminated, so to speak. This is a secondary, and this is a tertiary. When you're dealing with your colors, how they come out of the tube is not how you use them. And when you're tempted to grab just that color and not alter it in some way, it usually is the downfall of your painting. Because most of your colors are grayed. That's what helps them to blend and go together so well. We have two ways of changing a color. We can change its value or we can change its intensity. And by changing its value, we do change the intensity at the same time. If I take, let's go with yellow and add white, I'm changing its value. It's lighter. I'm going to get the white out. I'm going to take a little purple. I'm going to make it more of a red purple. And my yellow here. So the yellow on this side is being grayed, and the yellow on that side is being lightened. And both are good. And can I add white to this? Yeah. It's just a lighter ochre. It's as if we took ochre and added white to it. Most of the colors that you deal with, like skin colors, there's a little yellow in there along with alizarin. take a little burnt sienna, and that's the beginning of some of the skin colors. There are so many skin colors you need to, there. And if I get just a little more red in there, we've got it. Oh, too much.
Looks good.
Mm-hmm. But you notice I put some green in there. Mm-hmm. You had to, because you had to tone it down. It becomes too intense if I don't. It isn't soft enough. White will not just soften it completely. Like we saw here, we had yellow, but when you add the other colors, that's what really softens it. Is there any question on this at this point?
Yeah, which colors do I need to have, or should I have on the color palette?
You need your split primaries because you cannot make them. Mm-hmm. So you buy them. These you don't have to buy, but I recommend. And you need white. And ochre is another recommended color. It expands your palette and gives you more flexibility because you're not constantly making ochre. And there's two reasons for that. When you buy your cadmiums, they cost twice as much as any other color. And ochre doesn't. And it's made from yellow. I never could understand that. But anyway, so it doesn't cost twice as much. It's cheaper to buy ochre than to buy the cadmiums and make your ochre. Because both your dioxazine purple, or if you make your purple, and your yellow are expensive. Twice as expensive. This, and this are all expensive colors.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Happy painting.